Last lesson. Distance, rate, and time. These are three things that are linked together in one very nice and neat formula. Distance equals rate times time. So all that you're going to be asked to do in this section is I'm always going to give you two of the three things. I'm going to give you maybe distance and rate and ask you for time. Or I could give you distance and time, ask for rate. Or I can give you rate and time and ask for distance. I'm going to give you two out of the three, and you're going to find the third one for me. So if I give you, and let's take a second and just zero in on this formula. If I give you the rate and the time, so I ask for distance, that's really easy. Distance is rate times time. On the flip side, if I give you distance and I ask you for the rate or the time, you will divide the distance by the item I gave you, whether it's rate or time. Okay. This lesson is going to come down to you're going to multiply two numbers or you're going to divide two numbers. That's it. So solve for the missing value. It takes us 45 minutes to walk 3,285 yards, and we're asked to find the rate. So the distance we know. Distance is 3,285 yards. Equals rate, which I don't know, and I know I don't know that, times time, which is 45 minutes. Because I was given distance, to find the rate, I have to use division. So I'm going to take 3,285, and I'm going to divide by 45. So divide both sides by 45. And that gets me 73. Now, we do have to list the rate. Rate is how fast divided by how long. So when I divide those, I get 73. 73 what? Yards per minute. Okay, it's going to be the unit of measurement on the distance divided by the unit of measurement on the time. So the answer here is 73 yards per minute. So in the next problem, I'm missing time. Distance is 221 miles. Rate is 52 miles per hour. And I don't know the time. So we're going to divide 221 divided by 52. That is 4 1/4, 4.25. And here, what do you think the unit of measurement is? Since the rate is in miles per hour, the time is in hours. My next example, I don't know the distance, but I do know the rate is 65 miles per hour, and I know the time is 2 hours. So when I multiply those, 65 times 2 is 130, and if the rate is miles per hour, that means the distance is in miles. So 130 miles. You're probably noticing here that the rate will contain the other two units of the measurement. So miles per hour here. Distance is miles, time is hours. In the first example, our answer was in yards per minute. That meant the distance was in yards and the time was in minutes. Example, a pilot flies 58 kilometers in 4.2 minutes. At this rate, how long will it take to fly 435 kilometers? Hint, use a proportion. Okay, so what do we know? We know he flies 58 kilometers. So 58 kilometers in 4.2 minutes. If I'm suggested to use a proportion, that means two equal fractions. If I put kilometers in the numerator of my first fraction, I have to keep them there. And if I had minutes in my first, I have to keep them as the denominator of the second fraction. So I've used the 58, I've used the 4.2. There's only one number left in this problem, and that's 435. And that's a distance, it's kilometers. So it has to go in the numerator, which means I don't know the time, it's x. Cross multiply and divide, gang. This is from last section. Actually, this is from... No, I'm right, this is last section. So 58 times x is 58x. Nothing fancy there. 4.2 times 435. We're going to want to grab a calculator to do that. That's 1,827. When I divide that by 58, I'm going to find out that we can do that in 31.5 minutes. The idea is we're setting up to cross multiply and divide. And one more like that. A subway car travels 32 feet per second. 32 feet per second. That means 32 feet in 1 second. The question is, how far will it travel in 16 seconds? So as I was reading the problem, you'll have seen me writing down the proportion that comes out of it. So this one's actually really easy because we just have to cross multiply and we'll have our answer. 1 times x is x, and 32 times 16 with our handy dandy calculator is 512. X is how far, so 512 feet.